Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to Myth Busting Mondays. Now for the final myth, guys, really quickly, I just wanted to give you a little bit of clarification on what we're trying to achieve here, just so that way there is no confusion later on in the episode. So, long story short, there's an achievement in the game called Gnome Alone. This is only on PC, and everybody gets this for free by just simply playing the game. The reason why is because this achievement is to celebrate something outside of the game, where we end up basically celebrating the events of how we took a Gnome Chompski doll in real life and shot it successfully into outer space. So this is the only achievement within the game that doesn't require you to do anything within the game itself. So I thought, because this is the only achievement that doesn't require you to do something, and is instead just simply rewarded to you, what if we tried to actually earn the achievement by replicating the events in the game? Is it possible, within the means of the game and the supplies that are given to us, to launch Gnome Chompski into outer space? And I think that that'd be a really cool concept for today's myth, so at the end, that's what we're going to be testing. If you end up enjoying today's episode, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe to show your guys' support. And if there's a particular myth you would like to see featured in next week's episode, just please put in the comment section down below. But anyways, guys, as always, let's get on with this week's episode of Myth Busting Mondays. Myth: will the military helicopter that is on the Parish finale leave after 10 minutes? Alrighty guys, so for the first myth here, this is submitted in by Klopbersko. Now this is a myth that revolves around the story of the game because, fun fact, this is related to a military voice line that's on the finale. So on the finale, the military has a line where they're talking about leaving in 10 minutes if you do not make it to the rescue vehicle in time. So I wanted to test and see if that is true, and the game did think that far ahead to make the helicopter leave if you didn't get there within 10 minutes, or if this is rather just for show and the sake of continuity for the story. Because it'd be really interesting if they did make it where you could fail the map, kind of like how you do on the Sacrifice. So I was like, alright, bet, let's call the military's bluff and just see if they'll flat out leave us to die. So that is going to be what we're doing here today. So what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be flying over to the helicopter and just waiting for 10 minutes and just see if they leave or if the mission will just abruptly end. So let's go over to the helicopter now. Now guys, for this first myth, I am not going to lie, the testing was very boring because all it is just us running around in circles and just staring at the helicopter. The helicopter didn't even do so much as spin its blades. So I want to summarize essentially what our findings were. So, basically, long story short, minus all the goof-off time and not exactly staring at the helicopter the entire time because I didn't want it to be just necessarily a stagnant image, but we never really got this to end up amounting to anything. I believe that this is just something that is to the storyline and the storyline only. I am pretty sure the devs did not think that far ahead to make it where that you just fail the mission if you do not get there within 10 minutes in time. Now, it would be very cool if that did happen if you do not make it within the 10 minutes. It would be a very much cool attention to detail, but it would take away time from the development of other stuff in the game, and I understand why they did not do that. The Sacrifice is kind of a rare thing where the campaign does just flat out end if you don't complete the task at hand, but it's not something that you have to worry about on the Parish. Instead, the helicopter will just end up staying for eternity and will never move. It's just something that is only for the sake of dialogue within the game. So that does mean that this myth is going to be left at busted, but it was still something that I really did enjoy the idea of testing because now we at least know, and it was nice to try something related to the storyline for a change rather than just the raw gameplay. Myth: can a spitter destroy the gas station on No Mercy? Okay, everybody, so for the next myth here, this is submitted in by Isarum. I do apologize if I mispronounced your name, by the way, bro. But for the myth here, this is going to end up being, can the spitter destroy the No Mercy gas station? So we're going to be testing that here right now. Now, we want to try this multiple times just in case that, like, let's say the gas station doesn't blow up on the very first hit. Now, even though the spitter would be a really good candidate for this myth, the gas station is very picky. It's for some reason very finicky about what does or does not allow it to blow up. For example, when we tried to test a myth that was only from a few recent episodes ago, we tried to see if the tank could end up punching the gas station, which he couldn't, but then for some reason if he launches a car into it, the car will cause it to explode. So it's very, very finicky, but the spitter, here's the thing, is that, like I said, this is probably the most realistic candidate for this to end up happening. Acid and fire would not go well together, but the one problem is that the game just does not want to end up working with us when it comes to myths that are logical based. You would think that the spitter would have no problem trying to blow up the gas station, but no, that was not the case. We even double checked to make sure that we were even making progress towards the gas station by shooting it with our guns, because what we wanted to do is see if the bullets would end up destroying the gas station in less hits if we had the spitter go first, and it required us to shoot the same amount of bullets that we normally would if the gas station was at full HP. So the spitter was making no progress, and not even a little bit. So even though it would make perfectly logical sense for this to end up being confirmed, it is not, and is instead going to be left at busted because apparently Valve does not like logic. Myth: can you kill a zombie by crushing them with a door? Alrighty guys, so now for our next myth. This is submitted in by Nitwit. Now I swear that somewhere before I have seen these zombies be crushed by a door in the past. I don't know if I was imagining this, or if this was a glitch, or this was something, for example, within the means of the game. But when we tried to do this on purpose, there was some really interesting results. Most notably, we saw a lot of zombies bug out and get stuck in between doors. Now, even though you also can't see my hands because I don't have like a controller cam or a keyboard cam, I was trying to use my interaction key, and I could not get the door open when the zombies did this. They actually made the door stuck, and the only way to fix it was to melee the zombie to death, which means that we kill the zombie rather than just letting him be killed by the door. So the most notable thing that happened was just bugs and glitches. There was at one point that Dan, me, and Labursko were all in our different sections of the Dead Center Hotel, just trying to use the door to kill zombies. We tried to slam them in between the door, we tried to slam their face with the door, we tried to end up making so that way they would be slammed in the door and then like glitched into the wall, and nothing really ever worked, because either the zombie would break the door, get stuck, or we would have to kill it by shoving it, because the zombie was just not working with us the entire time that we did it. Now, like I said, I believe that in my memory that I have done this before where I have indeed killed a zombie with a door, although this could have been my imagination and I might be interpreting the memory wrong, but I do think that this is the case. Now, with that being said, there was one interesting correlation that I did notice with every single zombie that we tested this myth on, which was going to be that when we meleeed them, they were left at one shot. Now, to kill a normal zombie by shoving it, it is not a one-shot unless, for example, the zombie is like prematurely damaged, for example, as one of many multiple different things that could happen. So we noticed that the zombies were all being left at one shot, so we thought that maybe that the door was doing damage, but so little that it made it that way it was taking way too long for our patience. But I don't think that that's really the case. I want to say that even though I do believe that this has been done before by me and many others that I've also seen play with me, I want to end up being a good myth tester, and instead of labeling this based off of my opinion, I'm going to be labeling it based off of what I saw, and I am therefore going to leave the myth at busted. I don't think that you can kill the zombie by slamming a door in his face, because nothing really became of this myth other than just noticing maybe some weird inconsistencies with the physics. But you guys can let me know if you've had a different experience, and we can talk about more in the comment section down below. Myth: can the tank and the witch die of drowning underwater? Okay guys, so for the second to last myth, this is submitted in by Noel. Now for this myth guys, I want to just get the witch one just straight out of the way, because I'm pretty sure that those of you guys that played Left 4 Dead for a long time, including myself, already know that the witch cannot drown via the water, because I have seen the witch in multiple different instances be underwater and not drowned at all. Most notably, for example, on Swamp Fever, because on Swamp Fever there are tons of different locations where the witch can just spawn into the water. So if we're looking at this from the witch only, then that means that the myth is going to be busted. Now we still have to test the tank though, so whatever the tank results are, we're going to combine them with the witch results, and then we will end up getting the final result after we end up doing both of these. Alrighty guys, so here I am spawned in as a tank on the boathouse finale of Death Toll in the exact same area that the witch was. Now here is the thing, is that the witch you cannot play as in the game, so it's kind of hard to gauge whether or not she was receiving damage in any capacity. But when it comes to the tank here, I can see his HP bar, and it is indeed going down by 5 HP about every second or so after a while. So that means that, yes, so far the tank is indeed drowning underwater, which doesn't really make sense because the witch doesn't drown, but the tank does. And I think that's only because of the logic of versus being in mind, because since nobody's allowed to play as the witch, but you can play as the tank, it does make it so that way you can die via human error with the tank. And to confirm any doubts that you may or may not have of this, here is me right here dying with the tank underwater because the guys lowered my HP just enough so that way the ticks would go by a lot quicker, and I died from lack of oxygen, which does not make sense when you're already dead and you don't need to breathe anymore. And I think it's kind of silly how that the tank can drown, but the witch cannot. I understand it's the thing with verses, but I think it's just a little bit of a silly inconsistency with the game. Now here's the thing with the myth, is that there's an element of it that is completely and utterly busted, and there's another one that's completely and utterly confirmed. So I could hypothetically do a compromise and meet them halfway and say that is plausible, but here's the thing, is I don't feel comfortable doing that. So based off of the wording specifically of the myth, if you asked if both of them could end up drowning, but at least one of them did, I'm going to now instead of labeling it as plausible, label it as confirmed. The reason why I want to label this as confirmed is because I try not to do plausible. I only do it if I feel like I have to, because I feel like it's more fun to do it as busted or confirmed. Plus also as well is that since one element of it was confirmed, my approach is that if any part of a myth is usually confirmed, then I just label it as confirmed, because you want to know if at least one of them did, and one of them did indeed die. So I think I'm comfortable with labeling it as confirmed, but you guys can be the judge at the end of the day, and you can let me know what you think about the myth's proper results. Alrighty guys, so for the final myth is once again going to end up being, can you end up launching Gnome Chompski into outer space and essentially replicate the Gnome Alone achievement that is in the game? So let me know what you think the results are going to be in advance, and let's see if we were all right. So I hope you end up enjoying the final myth. Myth, can you launch Gnome Chompski into outer space? Alrighty guys, so for the final myth, this is submitted in by ElectroP. Now ElectroP, I'm going to be testing this by using a grenade launcher because we have done this to launch ourselves and even the tank in outer space before, so I have absolute confidence that we'll be able to launch Mr. Gnome Chompski himself also into outer space and allowing him to fulfill his destiny. Alright everybody, so here we go. This is the epic moment we've all been waiting for. Cue the epic launch. 3, 2, 1... Okay, well apparently Gnome Chompski's too fat. So apparently Gnome Chompski has too much of a fat ass to be able to launch into outer space, even though we can do this with ourselves and also the tank, which keep in mind is that the tank is like trying to launch a garbage truck in outer space. And see, the silly thing about this too is there's an achievement completely themed around this. You would think that with the way that the game works that this would end up working, but it doesn't, and it's really silly how the most logical seeming myths sometimes are the ones that don't end up working at the end of the day. So sadly, that means that this final myth is going to end up being busted, but that's okay because Gnome Chompski has had plenty of epic myths before, and I'm pretty sure he's going to have epic myths later to come. Alrighty guys, so that was it for today's episode of Myth Busting Mondays, and I do truly hope you guys ended up enjoying, and if you did, please consider dropping a like, comment, subscribe, and all that beautiful stuff. If you guys have a myth yourselves that you would like to see featured in a future episode of Myth Busting Mondays, please by all means put it in the comment section down below. I really would love to see what you guys come up with. If you guys would like to financially support the channel, I tremendously appreciate if you guys could go check out my Patreon. It's always linked down below in all my YouTube video descriptions, or you guys could use supporter creator code BlackNinja797 in all caps in the Fortnite Epic Games item shops, because Epic is my very first sponsor, and they're sponsoring today's video, so shout out to Epic Games. But yeah guys, I hope you end up enjoying seeing another YouTube video from the most unique YouTubers you're ever going to see. Thank you for watching guys, I love all of you, and peace out.
Hey meme lords, Jesus here, and you better have enjoyed that video there by the eternal god Daddy Ninja. You should probably subscribe too, or the mighty Moab will come for your balls. If you enjoyed the video, you might like it too, and give me the memes. Flash, bang, boom!